or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Tonight we are going to be making a smoked sausage stew. And I looked it up to see what the difference was between stew and soup. And the description I got was it is dependent upon how much broth or liquid is in the soup or stew. And then it came on down and said in a soup, the liquid portion of it is the main ingredient of the soup or stew. Well, this is definitely not going to be the main ingredient, the liquid part. It's going to be plenty chunky here. And so I'm going to call it a smoked sausage stew. So let's get turned around here and see where we're going with this. Alright, first thing I've got here, I got some extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to put it right in the bottom of my pan there like that. Probably a heavy tablespoon, I'm guessing. I want to turn my heat under my pot to about medium, I'm going to say. There is a knob under there that you need to learn how to use. So I'm going to take my, first things first, I'm going to take my sausage here. This is actually kielbasa, which is a smoked Polish sausage. I do not smoke my own sausage yet. It could happen one day, but as of yet, no. And I'm going to cut those into about, well, I'm going to say 3/8 of an inch on average. And this is a 14-ounce package is what this was. I'm going to throw all these coins, so to speak, into the pot. I want to kind of get a little bit of the Maillard reaction going on them, meaning browning them just a little bit. I also want to get my onion here. I already cut the top off of it and also kind of had a bad spot there that I cut out of it. I'm going to go ahead and cut the root end off of this. I'm going to do it a little different. I'm not dicing this. I'm going to just cut it right down the middle like so. And I'm pretty much just going to go with half rings. And maybe I'll cut those into quarter rings. Into the pot it goes. I'm going to do the whole onion here. This is a pretty good size onion. I would not call it a medium onion. I'd call it more towards the large side. Quarter it like that. Into the pot it goes. Guess I threw some in there that weren't quartered. We'll do a redo on that. Got carried away with myself. Now then, we are going to let that cook down just a little bit. But while we're doing so, I've got myself 5 what I'll call medium potatoes here, and they got some green in them, but I cut most of the green out of it. Basically, I'm going to cut those like right down the middle, and then again just chunk them up like that. We'll put those back into the water for the time being to keep them from browning in the air. I need to give my meat and onions a stir. Now I'm going to sweat those down. I want to get those onions kind of looking a little bit translucent and get some color on that meat there. We'll be back here in just a minute while I clean up some of the stuff here. That's what we're looking for on our sausage. Now hopefully you can see how our onions are softening up and beginning to look a little bit translucent there. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, I'm getting pretty happy with that, the way it's looking. So the next thing I'm going to do, I've got 2 quarts here of chicken stock. There goes 1. Now, and this is chicken stock. That means it has less salt in it than broth, and that may come in important here shortly. Reason being is because I'm going to taste this, and I need to make a determination on whether I think it needs some more salt. I'm going to say yes, it does. Okay, so I'm going to put about a tablespoon in there. Looks like about a tablespoon. There we go. And we'll taste that again here shortly. Now, if your broth is not salty enough, you're going to drain the flavor out of your meat because the salt will want to travel. If your meat is more salty than your broth, the salt and flavor will want to transfer into the broth, and you don't really want that. Now, I've got 2 10-ounce bags of green beans here, and right into the pot they're going to go. I've also got 2 large, pretty large bay leaves. I want those to go into the pot as well. And then I want to bring this to a boil here in just a minute, but before I do that, I'm going to get myself about 3 cloves of garlic to put in here. Like that. I also want to go ahead and cut up, and I got a small, yes I do, small carrot here. This carrot's just as much to give it a little color as anything. Flavor, you know, adding that little bit of flavor as well. I also got 1 stalk of celery here I want to put in. Okay, some of the larger ones I'll cut in half here. Now the celery will certainly give it some flavor. Just 1 stalk. Right into the pot. Alright, I'm going to turn up the heat now on this. I'm not saying high, but medium high certainly. I want to bring it to a boil. Okay, so it's only been a couple minutes. I want to go ahead and put my lid on there. I'm going to leave it cracked. Kind of like that. And I'm wanting to give these green beans a little bit of a head start. Those are frozen green beans, which are the next best thing to fresh, and they need to cook down just a little bit. I want to soften them. You know, for some things I like steamed green beans. For other things I like them cooked down a bit. I'm going to let them go ahead and cook down. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and give this broth another taste since I put some salt to it. Excuse me. Actually, it was stock, not broth. Broth is saltier than stock, but in this particular case, there was a sale on stock, so I bought it. It's getting much closer. I am going to go ahead and put just a little more. Now this is all to taste, your particular taste, not mine. So I'm going to go about another teaspoon here. Remember to add salt, pepper, and flavorings like that a little at a time. If you've never actually made the recipe and know, add a little bit of a time, because you can always add more, but you can never take out. And speaking of black pepper, I'm going to say that's about a half a teaspoon. Okay, as you can see, we've come to a good boil in here, and I'm going to give these green beans about 10 minutes before I put my potatoes in there. So I'm going to go over here and set the timer. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Alright, so there went the timer for my 10 minutes on these beans. Give them that head start I told you about. And it's time to start putting these potatoes in here. I didn't mention it, but these are just russet potatoes. And actually good and starchy, which is kind of what I want. I want it to kind of thicken this up just a little bit. So I had my friend Dash, who was, you can find him over at Steel Drum Smokers, and I was watching his a replay of his live stream from Turkey Gate 2018. I forgot to turn him off before I came in here to do my thing. Check Dash out. He's a good YouTuber, a good YouTube friend. Alright, now then, back to a boil. We want to soften up these potatoes. We'll be back in a few. Well, obviously we're to a boil now. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. Whoops, almost turned it clear off. I don't think these potatoes are ready yet. No, they're still pretty hard. So it's going to be a few more minutes yet. Get our potatoes good and soft. I'll come back in about 10 minutes and check it out, see where we're at. Okay, so before I go and turn off the fire, I just want you to know, these knobs right here, they make that fire go up and down. And not everything requires to go all the way up. In fact, I had it turned down to about there just now, way down. Alright, so let's get turned around here. Okay, so my potatoes are good and soft here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that heat off like I said just a moment ago. Check our potatoes just one last time. Yeah, fork slid right in, no problem, no resistance hardly. Boy, does that look good. Just the way I wanted it. I'm going to go ahead and fish my, I'll leave it I'll leave the bay leaf in there. Now, and the reason being is because I'll probably have this again for dinner tomorrow night. This is one of those things that tastes better the second time. I'm going to let this stand for about 10 or 15 minutes. Simply because I don't want to deal with boiling hot stew here. We'll be right back. Okay, so our 10 minutes has come and gone. And here on my plate, I got a nice piece of multi-grain bread here with some butter on it. That is looking really good. Smells really good too. Now I use kielbasa in this thing, in this stew, but any kind of smoked sausage would work fine. I had to go get my noisemaker here. Take a picture. I like that. Okay. So now then, a little more pepper on this since I love pepper. Just like that. I believe it's time to get turned around for the taste test here. Alright folks, well this isn't all that fancy, and honestly I don't know what the real name of this is. It's pretty much something that my mother handed down to me. If she made this, she would make it with the green beans, the potatoes, and the sausage, and that would be pretty much it. I'm going to call it smoked sausage stew. Time to get a little taste of this. I need one of these pieces of smoked sausage, just like so. Like I said, food doesn't always have to be fancy to be good. Folks, this is good. This is comfort food. And like I said, this is great for another meal tomorrow. Do me a favor. If you like what you're seeing down here in the bottom right hand corner, hit like and subscribe. And stay tuned, because there's always more to come. Thanks for watching.